Morphology means the external appearance, right? The external features. So now we're going to study all of the variety of external features when the angiosperms are concerned, because we know that flowering plants are the angiosperms or angiosperms are the flowering plants. Now the question arises that why do we need to study morphology? Like, okay, fine, something looks like that, something looks like that, but why are we studying it? So we are studying it because so as to know the technical terms that are related with the particular, you can say, morphology or the plant. And apart from that, to also know about the adaptations that every plant has. Now, all of the plants that exist, they have different kinds of adaptations depending upon where they live or what is their habitat, right? So, by studying the morphology, we can know that also. Now see, this is like the most basic plant structure that I've drawn, right? Above anything that is above the level of the ground, that becomes the shoot system or the stem system. And anything that is below the level of the ground, that becomes the root system. Now see, do you know that angiosperms have been divided into two types, monocots and dicots? Do you know that?
Yeah.
What is the difference between monocots and dicots?
Monocot is like singular, and dicot is like there's two.
Yeah, what is singular and two?
Like the seed
Hmm.
has
Inside the seed, there is the presence of cotyledon. Okay, so whenever that cotyledon is two in number, we call those organisms as dicotyledonous. For example, if you take this kidney beans, right, the rajma beans, if you try to split it into two halves, you'll be able to do so, right? But if I tell you to do the same thing with a corn kernel, or if I give you a wheat seed and ask you to do so, you won't be able to do it, right? So the angiosperms, they have been divided into two types, monocots and dicots. Now, so we are going to see now, see, this is another example, like the dicot seed is for the moong dal, this one, the pulse, right? The green gram. Then there is this, the rice grains that are monocotyledonous. So I just like gave you the reference as to what is monocot and what is dicot to tell you what kind of roots exist in monocots and what kind of roots exist in dicots. Now, first let us talk about the three or the most basic kinds of roots. For example, if this is the level of the soil. So if I say the first formed roots of the plant, this is the primary root, the first formed root. Now, from the primary roots arises the lateral roots, right? Lateral means sideways in position. So, laterally, certain roots arise, and that is what we call as the lateral roots. But if this was primary and this was the lateral roots, so amongst the lateral roots, there would be some that will be formed first and some that will be formed later on. So the first formed lateral root becomes the secondary root. And then those roots that arise from the secondary roots, they become the tertiary roots. Clear? So primary roots, they are formed by the direct elongation of radicle. Okay, one more thing. See, in a seed, there are two major parts. There is the presence of a, you can say, structure called as the plumule, and then there is the structure called as the radicle. Now, whenever we plant a seed and the seed germinates, right? So from that, what happens? The seed is below the ground. So below the ground, the root grows. Above the ground, the stem grows. That is what happens when the seed germinates, isn't it? So during this particular case, the plumule which is present inside the seed, that will give rise to the shoot or the stem. And the radicle will give rise to the root. Always remember R for root, R for radical. Okay. Now, so the primary roots which are formed, they are formed by the direct elongation of radicle. Whenever radicle elongates directly, the root that is formed is the primary root. After that, the lateral roots which arise from the primary roots, now they can be termed as secondary or tertiary, depending upon whether they are the first one or the second one to be formed. Now, primary roots along with all of its branches, meaning primary roots along with the lateral roots, which consists of secondary and tertiary, that becomes the tap root system. Okay, this is the tap root system. So the first kind of root system that you are studying today is the tap root system. Now, this tap root system is found in most of, you can say maximum of the dicots. Okay, one such example is mustard plant. Now, in the case of monocots, there is a different scenario. You've understood taproot system?
Yes, I understood that.
Okay. Now, when we move forward and talk about the monocot plants, see, monocot and dicot, both of them belong to angiosperm, but they have a lot of differences between them, right? Structural differences, functional differences. Now, when we talk about the monocot plants, so here the primary roots are short-lived. The fruit that was initially formed by the direct elongation of radicle, they are short-lived in the case of monocot plants, and they are replaced by a large number of roots. So what happens normally if we talk about the tap root, so we know that there is the presence of branching there, right? Separate branchings you're going to see. But this case, isn't it different? Like one point is giving out a bundle, or you can say a bunch of roots coming at one single point. So this is what happens in the monocots. So the roots that originate from the base of the stem, they are known as the fibrous root system. Okay, fiber like roots are present, and it comes, or you can say originates or arises from the base of the stem. The greatest example for this is wheat. Okay. Now comes adventitious roots. Now, what did I say? Normally, roots are formed from which part of the seed?
Roots radical.
Yes, roots are formed from radicle. In normal cases, that is what happens. But when we talk about adventitious roots, so whenever the roots arise from the part of the plant other than the radicle, okay, other than the radicle, any other part of the plant. Okay, so that is what is known as adventitious roots, meaning these are not true roots. Right? True roots are the ones that are developing from the radicle. But since the adventitious roots are not developing from the radicle, we will not consider them as the true root. We'll say that, okay, they are arising from a part that is not the radicle, any other part. The examples for here, grasses, there is a plant called as monstera plant, and then there is banyan tree. All of them have, you can say, adventitious roots. Now, their roots do not arise from the radicle. Moving forward, talking about the variety of functions that the root performs. We know that the plant does photosynthesis, right? And one of the main requirement of photosynthesis is water, right? And along with the water, minerals are also required by the plants. So the minerals and water, everything, where is it present? It is present in the soil. So the plant, with the help of the root, it absorbs the water, it absorbs the minerals, all the necessary requirements from the soil. And the plant can do so with the help of roots because they have those absorbing structures present in them. So this is the function. Apart from that, we know that roots, like have you ever plucked out a grass or plucked out a plant from the ground?
Yes.
Have you felt, like have you feel the, like, did you feel the resistance while you were plucking it out? You felt like something was like pulling it, isn't it? It was hard, right?
Yes.
You felt this. Which plant did you pluck? Do you remember?
No, I just plucked grass from the park when I was a kid.
Yeah, so it's not easy to pluck a plant out, right? You have to use your force. So what does that say to us? That means that the roots that are present in the plant, they're sort of holding the soil. They are binding to the soil. That is why it is harder to pull them out. So it holds the soil and it prevents the soil erosion also. And apart from that, it anchors the plant. It provides anchorage. That is why the plant is not limp. It is standing straight because the root, then there is the stem. So a proper, you can say, straight structure is formed. So the root, they provide anchorage. Now there are, you will study furthermore when the roots they get modified. Okay, certain modification takes place in the roots and they get modified to store the reserve food material. Okay, like the food material that the plant is not using immediately, so it stores it, and that root can also act as a reservoir for reserve food material, meaning it can store it. Apart from that, the last function is that it synthesizes plant growth regulators, meaning the plant hormones or the phytohormones. Some of them are also synthesized by the root. So these are the like few important functions of the root. Any doubts up until now?
For the fibrous roots, the
Hmm.
roots grow out of the radicle, but then how does it turn, like, how is it short-lived?
Because like normally primary root is one in number, right? But in the case of fibrous root system plants, they have their needs to have more than one roots. They need a lot of roots because maybe if they are present in those kind of soil situations where the soil does not have enough binding capacity, so they need to have a lot of bunch so that they can hold it firmly. That is why their primary root is short lived and it gets replaced. Clear? Any doubts?
No, no other now.
All right, now you can note it down. So wherever I have drawn the diagram, you also take that down. And wherever there is a picture, if you want to, you can. If you don't, it's fine. Okay? Yeah, you can switch off your video and write down comfortably.
Could you scroll? Could you scroll? Okay, let's go. Let's go. Mm.
Done, like a.
Yes, I'm done.
All right. All right. Now, now you will be added to the batch. Okay. So, since it is like now time for the batch to start, so let's just wait for everyone to join and then I'll continue. Okay. So, till then you can switch off your video and wait. Okay. Also, Zainab, what did I teach you in the previous class? What is the last thing you've written?
1 minute, ma'am, I'll check it.
Hmm?
1 minute, ma'am, I'm checking.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, we have to start writing the regions of the.
Okay. I did not explain the regions of each of the like elongation, maturation, right? Or have I explained
Ma'am, you explained till the,
modifications of fruit?
no, ma'am, meristematic activity.
Meristematic activity.
Yeah, ma'am, somewhat there. Sorry, ma'am, functions of food. Till
Yeah,
there you.
that, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'll start with regions of fruit, right? Okay, let's just wait for everyone to join.
Ma'am, yesterday when I read the book, I have it out.
You have a doubt in?
There's a word called proximal to the cells. What does that mean, ma'am?
Near. Proximity means near.
From away means
Closeness. Huh?
near to the cell means proximal, right? So away means it's
Distal.
okay. I got it.
Okay, am I audible, students? Students, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's continue and talk about the regions of the root. Okay, now everyone, switch on your videos. Let's start today's class. All right. So, when we're talking about the regions of the root, what does region mean? Region means certain areas of the roots with their own attributes. We're going to see what each of the areas of the roots have to offer. Now, when we talk about the tip of the root, so the root tip is not just there alone. It is covered by a structure, a sort of like a cap or a thimble-like structure, and that structure is what we call as the root cap. So, right, it is there in the tip of the root, meaning, like, for example, if the root is growing downwards, so the tip will be present here of the root, right? So, as the root grows downwards, these root tips are covered by cap-like structure, and that is what we call as the root cap. Clear? Now, what is the function? The function of the root cap is the protection of the root apex, meaning the tip of the root has to be protected. Obviously, if it will get damaged, then how will water be absorbed, right? So that is why, since the roots are sort of like growing towards the soil or into the soil, they have to be protected, and that protection is provided by the root cap. Now, talking about the regions or the zones that are present in the root, there are actually three zones that are present in the root. There is a part or a zone that accounts for the meristematic activity. So it is the region of meristematic activity. Then there is a part that accounts for the elongation of the root, meaning the lengthening of the root. So that is the region of elongation. And then there is a part that is for maturation. So that becomes the region of maturation. If you say region or if you say zone, it's the same thing. Now, talking about the region of meristematic activity, right? This is the first, you can say, the most important one. And this is starting from the below, right? We're not starting from above, we're starting from below, because below is what the start point of root is. So, when we talk about the region of meristematic activity, so it is present a few millimeters above the root cap. So, root is there, root is covered by a root cap. Now, millimeters above the root cap is the region called as the region of meristematic activity. Now, if you people remember tissue chapter from ninth, do you remember that chapter? Little bit traces or anything? So, in the tissue chapter, you might have studied that any cell or any tissue that is meristematic in nature, it means that it has that property of constant division or active division, right? It can divide a lot and synthesize a lot of cells, right? So the cells of this region, meaning the meristem of this region or the meristematic cells, they are very small. Okay, they are small, they are thin wall, and they have dense protoplasm, meaning their cytoplasm is very thick. So this is the attributes of the cells of the meristematic zone. Now, again, the most important property is that they divide repeatedly. Like they keep on dividing and dividing. That is why the roots, they keep on growing deeper and deeper and deeper. So after the region of meristematic activity, just 1 second, student, just 1 second. Excuse me. All right. So yeah. So as I was saying, we are through with the region of meristematic activity. Does anyone have any doubts in the region of meristematic activity?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now moving on to the region of elongation. Now right above the region of meristematic activity, we'll find the region of elongation. Now the cells which are present in this particular region, they would undergo rapid enlargement and elongation because the name only suggests that, right? And they are responsible for the growth of the root in terms of its length. The longer the root is, the meristematic activity and the elongation, they work sort of like together. They increase the length of the root. Now, the cells of the elongation region, they gradually differentiate and then they mature. See, in plant cell, there is a very unique thing wherein the cell, if it will divide, it will keep on dividing and dividing. But after it reaches a certain point in its life, then it becomes mature. Now, if any cell becomes mature, that means that it will not, you can say, divide that much, and it has been specialized to perform different functions. Okay, so the cells of the elongation region, they gradually differentiate or divide and then they mature. Then comes the last region, which is like almost nearing towards the ground or the soil, right? The level of the soil. So the region of maturation. So now this one is present above the region of elongation. And why is it so significant? It is significant because this region shows the presence of root hairs. Okay, root hairs are present in this region. Some of the epidermal cells, they form very fine and delicate structure, thread-like structures that are known as root hair. Now, root hair, as just imagine them as being like accessory, and it helps to absorb more and more water and minerals from the soil. Like normally, if let's just say that the roots will absorb 5 milliliter of water and minerals, but with the help of root hairs, it can expand the amount of water it can absorb. Clear? So the three regions of the roots are clear to you. Is there anything you people want to ask regarding this?
No,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay, very good. Now moving forward, talking about the modifications of the root. Now this is where the uniqueness comes along, right? Now, normally, all of us know that the roots, what is their function? They store, they transport water and minerals, right? But now, if the roots are getting modified means certain accessories, certain changes are being done. So they get modified and they perform the functions other than the absorption, right? Normally, the roots function is to absorb water. But when the roots will get modified, it will not perform the absorption process. Rather, it will perform other functions. So according to the habitat and different living conditions, the root modify themselves. The modified roots perform some functions like other than the absorption and conduction. So they don't they're not going to do the most basic function. They're going to do the modified function. Now let us see. Some special functions that the modified roots perform are, first of all, they provide support. Then they can also store the food. They can do the process of storage of food. And then there are some roots that also help the plants in respiration. So these are the three ways. Now see, none of them are transporting or absorbing water, isn't it? Is there anyone that is absorbing or transporting the water? No, right? So, yes. So, that is what it means by the modification of roots, that the roots, they get modified, and what they do functions that are other than absorption and conduction. Now, for example, the tap roots of carrot and the tap roots of turnip, the adventitious roots of sweet potato, right? So the roots of carrot, turnip, and sweet potato, they get swollen, right? The normal roots are not swollen, they are very thin structures. But these roots, they get swollen so that they can store the food. So now the function that the root is performing is what? It is storing the food, right? And storage of food is not the normal function of the root. Any doubts up until now? You people are understanding why modifications are being done?
Yes, ma'am.
Now see, one more thing, that here the kind of question that may be asked to you is like, in sweet potato, the storage of food is done by the modification of which kind of fruit? Right? We know that if we are talking about carrot, if we are talking about turnip or sweet potato, right? The three vegetables or the parts of the plant. So their different roots are being modified. In case of carrot and turnip, the tap root of them is being modified. If the tap roots are being modified, then what kind of plants are carrot and turnip? Hmm? What kind of plants would you consider carrot and turnip to be? They have tap roots. So
Tap.
they have tap roots, so they are tap roots. They have tap roots, so what are they? Which kind of group of organisms in plant have taproot system? Hmm?
Dicot.
Dicot. Yes, so they are dicots. And when we talk about the adventitious roots of the sweet potato, so it may be a monocot. Clear?
Yeah.
All right. Now moving forward, talking
Alright.
about,
Talking about.
can you people hear my voice twice?
Yeah, ma'am, it's echoing.
Yeah, it's echoing. Okay, all of you mute
It's
yourself.
echoing.
Everyone mute yourself. Yeah. All right. So, talking about the stilt roots, it's very ugly to hear the voice, like your own voice. I don't like that. You people hear my voice. I don't like to hear my voice. All right. Now talking about stilt roots. See, stilt roots are supportive roots, right? These roots, they don't do absorption or anything, but they help the plant by providing support. So these are the supporting roots that come out of the lower nodes of maize and sugarcane, and they provide extra support to the plant. See students, do you know what nodes are? What is the meaning of node? Does anyone know that? Node.
It's a part on the stem where
Hmm? Where? What happens?
there's
You're right, it's a part on the stem. Okay, you're close. Now tell me what happens at the stem by the nodes. Anyone can answer. What does node do? Or what is node? The nodes, they give rise to the leaves. Nodes are the point on the stem from where the leaves arise. Got it? So these stilt roots, they're not present at the nodes. Rather, they come out of the lower nodes. And in which plant? You have to remember which plant we are talking about. For every example you see here, for example, if you're talking about sweet potato, carrot, turnip, you have to remember the names. So in the case of maize and sugarcane, the stilt roots are present so that they can provide support to the plant. Then we have pneumatophores. Here I think I've drawn something. Okay, prop roots. All right, now talking about pneumatophores. Now, see, pneumatophores, first of all, this is very important. Many times it is asked in MCQs. It is present in the plants like rhizophora. Many roots, they come out of the ground and they grow vertically upwards, right? See here, this is a picture. They're growing vertically upwards. All of the roots are coming out like that. Now, why? Because the rhizophora, this particular plant, it is present in waterlogged areas, meaning swampy areas. So if the roots will be present underneath the surface of the soil, then it will not be able to get oxygen, right? Only waterlogging means no oxygen. So that is why these roots, they come out of the ground, because they know that, okay, this waterlogged situation is never going to go away, right? So what are they going to do? They make the root modification, wherein the roots, they come out of the ground and they grow vertically upwards, and these roots, they help the plants to get oxygen for respiration, right? They help the plants to get oxygen, because once the roots are like up in the air, it is getting the oxygen, right? This much is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts up until now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, now see this one, the case of prop roots. How many of you have seen a banyan tree in real life or in pictures? If you would have seen any horror movie, Indian horror movie, then you would have definitely seen banyan trees in it, right? Bargat ka peड़, it is known as, right? So all the paranormal activity happens over there only, right? So you might have seen that the banyan tree, it has certain structures hanging from it. Have you seen it? Now, what do you used to think it was? Like, what do you think it was? Up until now, what do you think?
Branches.
Branches. You people used to think it was branches?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but they are not branches. They, like, the banyan tree has branches, but those things that you see that are hanging from the tree, they are the prop roots. Prop roots. You know what props are, right? Props are the things that you use to click pictures with, or use it in a skit or a play. But prop means something that is not necessary in terms of function, right? The play or the party can still happen without props. So these roots, they don't do the function that they are supposed to do. So they're just hanging. It's like prop roots. Clear? They have other roots also, the roots that sort of come out of the ground and they are laying on the ground, right? They are very big, huge roots that, like, you can say, go wide, like long air distances, right? So then banyan trees, they have the prop roots present in them. Clear, students? Any doubts up until now? All right, now you people can note down, then we'll move forward to the stem. You can switch off your video. Yes.
Rhizophora can also grow in marshy areas.
Yes. Swampy, marshy, same thing. Like basically waterlogged area, the area that has more ionic concentration rather than having more oxygen concentration. No, the plants do not need too much of the ions. Okay.
Done, ma'am.
All of you are done, students?
Yes.
Abir, am I audible to you? Abir, am I audible? Why are you so late to the class today?
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Ma'am, 1 minute.
Okay, okay.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
All of you are done? Everyone's done, students?
Yes.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, okay, I'm waiting.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. See students, for the prop roots that are there in the banyan tree, here what happens in the case of banyan tree, the roots they grow from top to bottom. Okay. And basically from the branches. So the roots grow from the branches. Okay, they grow from the branches. And what they do is that they go deeper into the ground, sort of like to provide the mechanical support to the tree. Okay, so so basically what happens in the case of banyan tree, it's that they have prop roots, and these roots they grow from the branches, and it goes until the ground level, right? And go deeper into the ground to provide mechanical support, because the banyan tree is a really huge tree, right? So it requires support to be standing upright. So to provide mechanical support. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, everyone's done till here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Yes, everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Zainab, the class will get over 1 hour from now. Like you people have 2 hour classes because we have to cover the syllabus. So right now it's 9:30 in my time. So it will get over at 10:30 after an hour. Also, remember students, whenever we're talking about new metaphors, so new metaphors will always be helpful in the plant. You can say the tree or the kind of the root it is, it will always help the plant to get aerated, right? To get the oxygen for the various processes, because the plants, they also require some oxygen, right? It's not that they don't require any oxygen at all. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Done.
1 minute, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Just 1 second.
Done, ma'am.
All right. So now we'll move on to the stem part of the plant. Okay, now you people can switch on your videos. Okay, now see, the root part is clear to you, all right? Very good. Okay, no one has any doubts? All right. Now we'll talk about the stem. We know that the part above the level of the soil or above the level of the ground becomes the stem or the shoot system of the plant. Now, the stem is the ascending part of the axis that bears branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, right? Branches are present on the stem, leaves are present on the stem, flowers and fruits are also born on the stem itself. Now, where does the stem develop from? It develops from the plumule, right? As I told you, always remember R for root, R for radical, right? So, what is left is what the stem arises from. So the stem develops from plumule. Now we know that the stem has two parts in it. One is the node, the other is the internode, right? So the node is that part of the area from where the leaves come out from the stem. Okay, from wherever the leaves are coming out from the stem, we call those areas as the node. And when we talk about the internode, then the internode is the portion or it is the part which is present in between the two nodes. Clear? So node is the part that is giving rise to the leaves, and internode is the part that is present right in between the two nodes. For example, if this is one node and it will give rise to the leaf, this is another node and it will give rise to another leaf. So this part is the part from where the internode is come. Okay, this is the part from where it arises. Clear? Any doubts up until now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now moving forward, We know that the stem has buds. Have you people ever heard about buds?
Yes, ma'am.
Like we say that budding, the bud area that comes on the stem, right? So yeah, talking about the buds, so the stem has two kinds of buds. We have the terminal buds and the axillary bud. Now see, these buds, they are in terms of their position, right? If I say terminal or if I say apical, it means at the tip. And if I say axillary or lateral, see, axil is the part, for example, this is the stem and this is the part from where the leaf arises. So it's making an angle over here, right? It makes an angle. So this angle that it is making, this is known as the axil, right? And the bud which is present in the axil of the stem, it is known as axillary bud. Clear, students? Axillary position and the terminal position of the buds are clear to you all? All right. Now, whenever the stem is young, it is green in color. Why is it green in color? Why is the stem green in color? Why not any other color?
Because it doesn't have bark.
Because it is?
It has parenchyma cells.
No. Think about the pigment. Think about the prime
Chlorophyll?
pigment.
It is.
Yeah,
It,
chlorophyll. All of you know about chlorophyll, right? So the stem is green in color because of the presence of chlorophyll in it, right? And when the stem starts growing older, so slowly, what happens? The greenish color, it starts changing. So we see that normally if you plant a seed, you'll see that the stem that comes out of it, it is green in color. But when we talk about a tree, the tree does not have a green color bark, right? It has a brown color bark or darkish brown color bark. So that bark, why does it become dark in color or brown in color? Because it has no chlorophyll. And the stem becomes woody as it matures. This much is clear? Any doubts up until now?
No,
Now
ma'am.
coming on to the functions, what does the stem do? So first of all, it bears branches, right? All the branches that are present on the plant or the tree, it comes from the stem only, right? The leaves, the fruits and the flowers, they all are present on the stem area. Now, apart from that, the stem is also responsible for the conduction of water, minerals and photosynthesis, right? Because we know actually not exactly photosynthesis, it is photosynthetes. Now photosynthetes are the products of photosynthesis, right? What is the product of photosynthesis, students?
Oxygen?
No, the main product of photosynthesis.
Glucose. Glucose?
Yes, glucose. Glucose is the main product of photosynthesis and that is what gets transported by the stem. Now, another function that the stem has to perform is the food storage. It stores the food of the plant. Apart from that, it provides protection and it participates in vegetative propagation. Many a times, if you take a part of the stem and if you try to grow a new plant from that part of the stem, it will be possible. And that is vegetative propagation. So all the functions of stem are clear? All right. Now you
Yes.
people can note down the stem. Sabiha, are you facing internet issues today?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that is why you're constantly like being left out of the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you listen to any part of the lecture?
No, ma'am, I listened. I got disconnected now because like I was
Okay,
connected to
okay.
Wi-Fi and I got disconnected, so I turned on
Okay,
data.
Okay, no problem. Done, everyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, I had a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, for the modified stem, it's the sweet potato is a modified stem or the banyan tree?
None of them. Sweet
Okay.
potato is a modification of a root. But when you talk about a potato, that is a modification of the stem. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, students?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All of you are done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone's done? Okay, very good. All right. Now moving forward, just like how we saw the modification of the roots, right? Same way, we are going to see the modification of the stem. How the stem is getting modified to perform variety of the functions. Now, as I told you, what would be the normal function of the stem? It will be to conduct something. It will be to store something, right? All of these things would be the normal function of the stem. But now the stem, they have been modified to perform different functions from what they're supposed to, right? So the underground stem of potato, ginger, turmeric, zameen kand, and colocasia, all of these, their underground stem, right? Sometimes the stems are also underground, right? So you seen potato vegetation? Like when they take out potato, they take it out from the ground. Potato, have you ever seen a potato tree? No,
No.
you'll never see it. Why? Because potatoes, they grow underground. So the underground stem of potato, ginger, turmeric, zameen kand, and colocasia, they are modified for what? For storage of food. Now, all of us eat potatoes. What is potato? It is the storage of glucose, right? It has a lot of starch in it. So it stores the food in the form of starch. Same goes for the all the other, you can say, species that I've read. Now, apart from that, the stem, they also act as an organ of perennation, meaning it will give them, you can say, the ability to survive dry or winter season. They'll store water in them, right? It will act like perennating the stuff. And till when? Till they overcome the unfavorable situation or unfavorable growth conditions. Then talking about the stem tendrils. Now, all of you, I think almost all of you must have seen the spring green color spring-like structure on the some of the plants, right? So these
Yes.
spring-like structures, these are known as tendrils. And tendrils, they are the modification of the stem. They come from the stem. So they are coiled structures and they are not present in all the plants. They are present in the plants that what? That are climbers, meaning those are the weak plants. They need the support to grow. They need the support to stand erect. So they have tendrils. So these are the tender spiral-like coiled structure that helps the plant to climb and provide support to the plant. What all you can say plants or vegetations have the stem tendrils? All the gourds, bitter gourd, variety like the bottle gourd, bitter gourd, all the gourds, they have the tendrils. Cucumber has the tendril. Pumpkins, watermelons, and grapevines. All of these things that I mentioned here, all of the plants, they all have stem tendrils present in them. Then talking about what kind of a modification is stem tendril. So talking about it, stem tendril, they are the modified axillary root, bud. You saw axillary bud I showed you. So they get modified from the axillary bud. Okay, now some axillary bud, they are modified to like form the thorn. How many of you have seen the thorn on the rose? Thorns, the spiky structures, right? And the thorns, they are woody, they are straight, and they are pointed. And they are found in citrus and bougainvillea. Now, what is the function of the thorn? Now, thorn, just like tendril, they are the modification of stem. But the function of thorn is to what? Is to protect
Protect.
from the, protect the plant from any kind of organism that is coming to eat them, right? From the browsing or animals like the cows, the buffaloes, and all. Now, the plants that grow in the arid areas, meaning those areas that have very little rainfall, so they modify their stems into flattened or fleshy structures, meaning now their stem becomes flattened, such as in the case of opuntia, and fleshy. Fleshy, if I say anything is fleshy in terms of stem, then it has the property of storing water. So in the case of euphorbia also. So what they do, these structures, they contain the chlorophyll and carry out the photosynthesis along with storing water for the plant. Any doubts up until now, students?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
All right, now the underground stems of grass and strawberry plant, they spread to new places, and when the older parts die, new plants are formed. If you might have plugged a grass from the ground, you might have seen that it is so long and it is connected to another part, the part that is seen above the ground, right? So that is the example of a runner. See, here this connection is present, and this connection helps the, you can say, the continuity of the stem that are present in the grass and strawberry. Clear? Runner is clear? Then comes
Yes.
stolon. Stolon here, and also remember students, from wherever this twig comes out of the ground, right? The part that you see above the level of the ground, below each one of them, there will be the presence of adventitious roots. Now the stolons, the lateral branches which arise from the base of the main axis, and after growing aerially, they arch downwards to touch the ground. Right? For example, they are starting from here and they grow in the air for a little while and then again they touch the ground. So this kind of a modification is known as stolon, and it is found in mint, jasmine. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts up until now?
No, ma'am.
All right. Now moving forward, we'll talk about what is offset. Now offset, it is a lateral branch with short internodes. Normally, the internodes are really long, but in the case of offset, what happens that the internode is short. And then talking about the node. So the node would bear a rosette of leaves. So from the point from where the leaves would arise, they would have a rosette of leaves, sort of like a bundle, a bunch, right? And that would arise from the node. So above the level of the ground, there will be a bundle of leaves, sort of like a rosette. And below the level of the ground, there will be the tuft of root. Tuft means a bundle, a bunch. So above also there will be a bundle, and below also there will be a bundle present. Any doubts up until now? Just 1 second, students. Yes. So now this kind of the modification of the stem, it is found in the aquatic plants such as Pistia and Econia. Clear? Okay. Now you people note down till here, then we'll move forward with the modifications.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
No, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.